I broke my string. Holy crapola. What a giant.
The Fishin Show with JT Kenney is brought to you by Florida Space Coast. Plan your next adventure at visitspacecoast.com. American Bait Works. B&W Trailer Hitches. Ardent Reels. Mercury. Go Bold Lady. Falcon Boats. Go Fish. Nichols Lures. Trocar. Greenway Plants reminds you to thank the farmer. Power Pole.
You guys know what time it is. It's time for the Fishin Show with JT Kenney. Worming, punching, frogging, and big bass snatching coming up right now. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh, whoa! 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 There's a good way to start. Woo, that's a good way to start. Holy crap. I made about 5 or 6 pitches. Hey, guess what? Welcome to the Fishin Show with JT Kenney. That's how we like to do it right there. Oh, what a beast. Oh, first one of the day is a doozy. All right, let's let him go. I'm ready to get another one already. All right, I want to show you guys some of the tackle that we've been using so far today. And so far, I kind of got 3 things right now that are kind of going. I'm sure at some point during the day that, you know, something's going to stand out more than the others. But for right now, I got 3 things going. Caught one big one already and a couple others on the scum frog, launch frog. This is a sloppy toad color. Absolutely my favorite frog ever. If you guys follow me on social media, you know that's my little jewel piece right there. Favorite rod to throw it on is a Halo KS2 Elite. It's a 7.5 heavy. I really like this rod for the frog because you're throwing it in some heavy stuff, so you gotta have a heavy action rod, and this rod is real heavy action. But it has a nice little limber tip, and it really allows me to walk that frog, you know, with that nice limber tip on it. Ardent Apex Grand 7.3-1, 65 pound braided line, all you need for that guy. And then we've also caught a few on the old Ozark Trail sinker stick. This thing is, this is that bluegill color. It's almost like a dark gray with like gold and blue fleck in it. It's, yeah, that one right there, the Ozark Trail. And it's a bluegill color, the sinker stick. 5/0 Trocar hook, little 5/16 weight on it. I throw this on a Halo HFX series. This is a 7.6 medium heavy, and that's perfect for casting this worm around on these outside edges. Same reel, Ardent Apex Elite, or no, this is Apex Grand, I'm sorry, Apex Grand. And I got 16, 17, 18 pound fluorocarbon line on there. Any of those will be fine. It's not real particular with that. And now it's time to show you the big boy, the meat stick. Halo HFX series. This is my punching rod. Halo HFX series. This is a 711 extra heavy. We just come out with these not too long ago, and it is my favorite punching rod. And I've had a lot of favorite punching rods over the years. Halo HFX. It is it now. 65 pound braid. I got an Ardent C-Force 7-to-1 reel on this. Like I said, 65 pound braid. I got a Halo bobber stopper. A completely chewed up 1.5 ounce weight. 1.5 ounces is to me the best. You can get bites on a 2 ounce, but it's just, I miss so many more fish on a 2 ounce. So I just try to stick with 1.5 ounces. If I can't get 1.5 ounces through, I just throw it up real high to get it to poke down through. You guys have heard me talk about before my my favorite flipping hook. That's a TK 133 from Trocar. TK 133. It's kind of funny looking, but when you rig it up on this net bait dagger, you see the beauty of it. How it makes a nice slender presentation instead of that big hook sticking way out like that. Nice slender presentation for punching. So that's the setup today. I don't know exactly what's gonna be the one that stands out, because just like every day, usually catch them on a few different things, but you get dialed into one thing and it really stands out. So who knows? Maybe it'll be the big stick. A little bit better one, boys. That's a good one. So you know, when you're covering a lot of water like this, you just keep dropping it in there and dropping it in there, but you know things have started to come together, and then all of a sudden, there it is. You get that bite. I mean, and when you pull back and it pulls back, you know it's a good one. But so many times, good ones really don't get hung up in the mat like this. You know, they kind of keep pulling back down, and I really didn't think at this point that this was going to be a really big one. Then all of a sudden, when it came out of the mat, man, I got excited. I knew that was a big one. And when we boat flipped it up in there, you could tell by that humped head, you know, that St. John's River strain of bass here in these lakes around Palm Bay. And look at that giant, just an absolute monster. You can tell by how dark that fish is. He's been living under those mats for a long time, and he's not underneath of them anymore. Oh yeah, look at that one. Oh, boy. Yeah. Oh. Yes. Woo. Look at that awesome pepper. Oh man, that Trocar is out of them now. A wee lad on the puncher. Well, look how dark that fish is. Wow. Darky dark. You know, one of the things I hear a lot about is when you go to some of those lakes in Palm Bay, there's so much grass and it all looks good. How do you find the fish? You know, we started punching now. We got up in some of this really, really heavy hydrilla. And I'll tell you, one of the easiest things to do and some of these lakes, there's just fish everywhere, but to be able to find the concentrations of them, I like to find some areas, like if you look out here behind me, you know, all out through there's open pockets between all the hydrilla. Like you don't want to be out there where there's just a mass carpet of that hydrilla. You want to find where the hydrilla is clumpy, and then in between the clumps, like in the open spots, there's not a whole lot of hydrilla, or if none, in the open spots. And you can see, if you look at my Lowrance right here, see how in here, see there's no grass? See, it's 5.3 feet deep and there's no grass, but yet right there is a big mat. That's all a big mat. So as you can see, if you find those areas that have thick grass, but then open areas next to the thick grass so you can move your boat through. I think it's a deal where the fish like to have edges. You know what I mean? So they can get back in the grass, but they can look out into that open water and, you know, and try to ambush stuff out there, or get out there and move around and then get right back in the grass someplace. So that's one of the biggest keys to all these lakes that have heavy grass, whether you're here in the Palm Bay area or whether you're in Gunnersville or Lake Champlain up north. You know, any of those places that are just historically big grass fisheries. You want to find those edges and hard edges in those places where the really thick grass meets the open water. Now you can see right here, I've got my eye on something. See how this point of hydrilla sticks out? It's just out there kind of all by itself. There's that real hard edge that runs through there, but then this one big kind of clump point kind of sticks out. It just looks like an absolute bass castle. And it is, and it's a good one. Look at this guy. This is textbook punching right here. Absolutely perfect spot. Get the power poles down so you don't drift into it, and there he is. Just, I mean, that went as about perfectly as it possibly could. I'm talking about, I mean, absolutely pegged. I am gonna have to get the old pliers out for that guy. I mean, that trocar has absolutely got him. That's that TK 133. That is a big bass flipping stabbing hook, let me tell you that. All right, let's get this guy back in the water. Things are starting to come together now, boys. One of the big things about so many of these lakes in Palm Bay is that there's so much stuff that you can do. You know, we caught a few on a worm, we caught a few on a chatterbait, you know, and now it seems like that kind of stuff kind of slowed down a little bit. So now I got the big stick out. Like, I must admit, my favorite. I got my the old 7-Eleven extra heavy Halo HFX, a little dagger on it, 1.5 ounce weight. You can see that weight's kind of been through the ringer a few times, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it started to slow down a little bit on that worm bite and that chatterbait bite. So I got the big stick out. Let's see what happens now. You know, when you get a fish hooked up like this, it's just everything is going right and everything is going crazy right now. Boat flipping them in, you can tell that it is become an absolutely fantastic day. Being able to put all this together and the satisfaction of starting out with some different techniques and finally getting honed in to something. This was with that dagger and the trocar hook, 1.5 ounce weight. Finally getting zoned in on something is just, I mean, it's so satisfying. And then when you get it to that point When you've caught a couple little ones, you start catching them more repetitively, and then the big guy shows up. You know, so many times when we get home and I sit down and I start thinking about stuff, and I start thinking about, you know, like what would have happened if I would have done this, or if I would have done that, changed around a little bit. And so many times it's those little moves that what makes your entire day. And I mean, and I think today there's probably some things I could have done a little bit differently, but man, we had an awesome time, caught some really big bass. Punching was definitely the deal for the day today. You know, the net bait dagger, I caught them both on the tilapia magic, and then this is plum magic. Both of these were just, they worked absolutely awesome. I love this dagger, just the way the wings kind of fold up and it punches real easy, gives you an awesome hook set. But man, we had a fun day. We caught a few on a worm, we caught one on a vibe jig, we caught a real good one on scum frog. But man, it absolutely came together when we started putting that punching bite together, and man, it ended up being an awesome day with the big stick. It was bass fishing 101. Couple on a scum frog, couple on a worm, and that big stick, that punching rod, that big halo rod, 1.5 ounce weight, net bait dagger, trocar hook. I mean, it put some big ones in the boat. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Fishin' Show with JT Kenney.
The Fishin' Show with JT Kenney is brought to you by Florida Space Coast. Plan your next adventure at visitspacecoast.com. American Bait Works. B&W Trailer Hitches. Ardent Reels. Mercury. Go Boldly. Falcon Boats. Go Fish. Nichols Lures. Trocar. Greenway Plants reminds you to thank a farmer. Power Pole.